morning, everybody. Happy New Year. This is Sagana Girl coming at you from a very snowy January 2nd here in Canada. We're finally snowing. Oh, it stopped. I lied. We were snowing, and now it's not snowing anymore. But anyways, it's winter, it's January, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to quickly talk to you about the spread that I use to sort out my year, and it's called my year in preview. So I was trying to figure out how I can show you the cards and then talk to the screen, and then I decided that showing you the card layout is really not that big of a deal because you can lay them out however you want. So I figured, and my hand was getting sore from trying to hold my iPad and talking at the same time. So I decided I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to talk about the cards. So if you see my previous video, I was gushing, hopefully coherently, about my newfound aha moment with regards to using the Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer, ta-da, with the Wildwood Tarot deck by Mark Ryan, John Matthews, art done by Will Worthington. And I've mentioned in that previous video that it's been pretty amazing, the combination of cards, how energetically they flow together, how they really super work well together. They're very supportive of each other. They jive really well. Stylistically, they're quite different with regards to the art, but energetically, they're totally vibrating at the same level, and I've been finding that it's been a very fabulous experience seeing these cards work together. So enough about that. About the readings. So I like to do at the beginning of the year, usually within the first couple days, and I can't always do it on the January 1st day, I like to go through and do a quick little preview for the year. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time because, you know, we don't always have a lot of time. But I had some time this morning, so I was up early, so I actually spent a couple hours going through my cards. And sorry, I'm just going to be very unprofessional and scooch back here. And I'm a huge journaler, so I actually went and I journaled everything in my journal to be able to reference back. So this is what I did. I used both decks for each month to give me some insight about where the energy is going, some things that I might want to be aware of. I don't know if you would call it predictive. I guess it is predictive in that I'm sort of looking at, you know, what energetically is March going to look like for me. But I think that, again, we can change that situation based on our awareness and the choices that we make. So it's more of a guideline. It's more of a basis for me to think about, to evaluate each month energetically how I'm moving into that phase, so that if there's certain goals that I need to achieve for my work life or for my home life, that I can use those cards as a reminder, so that I'm setting myself up to be as successful as possible in that month. Basically setting myself up to live my best life every day. That's what I'm doing, and that's how I'm using these cards. So anyways, so the first thing you do is you figure out what sort of format you want to use. If you like the idea of a wheel, you can lay your cards out in a wheel format, or you can lay them out in columns. It doesn't really matter. I usually end up playing with my cards. I have, like today I started with wanting to work in a wheel like January through December, and then very quickly found out that I was running out of room. My reading became like the size of my floor, and so then I had to reorganize it all. But yeah, so it doesn't really matter how you do that. So anyways, I'm just going to reach across. I have all of my cards laid out. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just take my iPad and flip it over so you can see here. Alright, so this is what I do. I have my cards all laid out. Okay. Oh, did that make you dizzy? Sorry. I have my cards all laid out, and then I started with January. Move this so it doesn't fall over. So I'll just grab my cards. So the Oracle card, the Earth Oracle, represents the energy for the month, okay, the main focus. So for January, rain came about. okay? Rain, purification. So you can use your guidebook or you can work with your intuition. It doesn't really matter, whatever it is that you need to do, whatever is going to work for you. And perhaps you think about things like cleansing and water and showers and like physical showers, but like weather showers and release and clearing and runoff and all of those things that go along with purification. Okay, so that's the general energy, is that January for me is going to be a month of purification. Does that mean I'm going to do a cleanse physically? Maybe. Does that mean that I'm going to clean out my closets? Maybe that's what that means. Does it mean that I'm going to have issues with water? Well, maybe that's what it is too. I mean, I don't know for sure. All I know is that it has to do with rain and it has to do with purification, and whatever it is that that personally means to me, as well as combined with perhaps what goes in what came out of the Farmer Guidebook, whatever that means to me, that's going to be the energy of my month of January. And then I decided to do 2 cards to complement that or to support that from the Wildwood Tarot. And the 2 cards I chose represented, the first card represents the yin energy, so the receptive part of me. What is it that I need to receive? What is it that I need to turn inside? The quiet, passive, more passive form of energy. Perhaps more of a receiving force, perhaps more of a sitting back and looking at the month. Perhaps it's more of a softer sort of focus. So that would be the yin energy. And then I paired that with what I call the yang energy, so the active part of that month. What is it that I physically actively need to be doing? And it doesn't necessarily mean physically active. I mean, it could be physically active, like exercise active, but it could also be active, like action plans, or actively putting my mind on manifesting something specific, or actively looking at this thing that might be coming up. Whatever that is, that's the active portion of it. And so, for example, in January, the passive or the yin energy I came up with, sorry, the glare is weird, was a seer. So for me, thinking about working with my intuition, thinking about the fact of you know, if you think about the High Priestess, about what it is that I can create. Also how I celebrate my my spiritual practice, how I find my spiritual connection with the universe. How am I going to celebrate my connection to the God and to the goddess? Okay, whatever it is that means for me, that passive part of the yin energy for this month is the seer, but working with my intuition. Perhaps I really need to stabilize my spiritual practice. Perhaps if we bring it together with the energy of the purification, maybe I need to do some cleansing. Maybe I need to start taking a look at my spiritual practice, and maybe I need to start stripping some things out of that. Or maybe part of my spiritual practice will be cleansing, whatever that looks like. I know it sounds confusing, but when I'm working with these themes, I like to keep them big because it gives me lots of opportunity to see what can come at me. I don't want to look at a closed lens. I don't want to see a small box. I want to get the biggest sort of scope I can, so that I can be very open as I'm working through the month. Okay? And then the yang energy for January came up as the Knight of Arrows, so the hawk. So again, the guidebooks are fantastic for the Wildwood Tarot, so you can go through and you can read about the hawk, or you can start to think about a hawk and how it is a very good hunter, how it is very keen and sharp-eyed and focused. It flies very high in the sky. It's able to see a huge amount of territory, right? So perhaps from the yang perspective, the active part of my energy for January needs to be looking at the big picture, or being able to step back and focus. Actively finding a way for me to fine-tune my vision so that I'm not focusing on the little details, but I'm looking at the big picture, okay? So what is it that I actively need to do to manifest that, or to be the hawk, okay? So, and then I've gone through and I've done that for each month, okay? So for each month, I've got 3 cards, 36 cards in total, and that gives me my full year, okay? Then what I do is I take those cards and I find a wall calendar, the wall calendar that I'm using. I left it upstairs, but I really like the Llewellyn's which wall calendar. I like the information and it's really pretty and lots of colors, but anyways, that's the side of that. I then take these card combinations and I write them down. Under each month, I write down what the energy card was, what the yin energy was, and then what the yang energy was for each month. And so then as I work through my days each month through the year, every time I flip my calendar over, I can look and see energetically what I'm shifting into. If I'm making plans for holidays, if I'm needing to take some time off, then I can shift through my calendar and I can see, well, you know, how is that going to jive with the prospective energy for July or for August or whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So again, I don't know that it completely dictates how my year is going to go because, you know, shit happens and things change and that's just the way it goes. But what it does, again, it gives me a focus so that I can continually be moving into a new state or a fresh place in my mind where I can start to release some of the patterns from the previous months and move forward, okay? Or maybe there's patterns I need to hang on to. Maybe the work ethic that I developed in January needs to carry through into February because February perhaps is going to be a month where I'm going to need a little bit more strength and a little bit more resilience, whatever the energetic description I came up with for that month was. And so then it allows me to carry that through. At the very end of the day, for me, the reason I choose to do this is, well, number one, I love working with my cards. But number two, I really believe that it's not even a belief, I know that doing this helps me live my best life every day. It allows me a perspective. Each day I can get up in the morning and I can take time to light my candles before I have my breakfast and ask the God and the Goddess to come with me, to walk with me, the Holy Mother, all of my spirit, my whole team, all the people that and energies that I work with, to help me connect in that day so that I live my best life each day. It works as a reminder for me. And I think that ultimately at the end of the day is the reason why so many of us are moving along this path of tarot. We're trying to use these cards so that we can live our best life every day, so that we can squeeze every ounce of joy and love that we can out of each day, but also squeeze every inch and every little bit of learning that we can get from each lesson, from each hard thing that we need to move through each day. It gives us perspective. We can step back and say, yeah, you know what, this really sucks that X, Y, and Z happened, but there is a lesson to be learned here, and there is something that I need to get from this experience so that I can then move forward, and then that life lesson can be sort of put to rest and I can continue to move into what will be my best life. So that's basically how I use the cards, and that is my year in preview. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can leave comments below. I also wanted to say that, again, journaling is huge. So for me today, I wrote all of, I know you can't see this, but every month I wrote all of the information down and have it here so that I can go back and I can reference it, okay? Another app that on my iPad that I use quite a bit is called Day One Journal, and that app allows me to take a photograph of my cards, and then I can do a journal entry through typing on my iPad, and then that gets stored, and then I can print that off and stick it into my journal. So I have all these various methods because sometimes I'm busy, I'm on the road, and I need to make a quick note, but I don't have my pen and I don't have my journal. So I do a little typing on my iPad. I have journals all over my house because I'm always writing stuff down. So I'm going to end this video because I don't want it to be too long. I feel like I'm running a little bit out of time. You can follow my progress with regards to this reading on A Fool's Life Journey on Facebook. I will add the link. If you have any questions or comments, please share. Please let me know if you have certain year readings that you like to use for yourself that have worked fantastically. And even share the ones that haven't worked, because I think that there's a lesson to be learned in that as well. So other than that, have a wonderful day, a multitude of blessings for 2015, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And thank you for subscribing. Namaste.